In a world run by traditional finance, a brand new hero was about to enter the scene. A hero built not on the power of governments or big banks, but on the power of pure code. You see, this isn't just a story about technology. It's the origin story of crypto. So let's just kick things off with one really powerful question. What if the money in your pocket, the value that you create, wasn't controlled by any single person or company? What if it was truly yours and you could send it directly to anyone else, anywhere in the world? Well, that revolutionary idea is exactly where our story begins. So before our hero showed up, there was only one system in town, Fiat. Now that's just the fancy name for the traditional money we all know and use. The US dollar, the euro, you name it. It's issued and controlled by governments and central banks. They're the ones who set the rules, they can print more whenever they feel like it, and pretty much every transaction has to go through them. This was the world our hero was born to challenge. Okay, so here's where you can really see the big showdown, right? With traditional money, you've got a central bank calling all the shots. With crypto, it's a distributed network of users. Basically, everyone's in charge. Instead of a government just deciding to print more money, crypto uses a predictable, pre-written algorithm. And how about verification? Well, instead of needing a bank to say, yep, this is okay, crypto uses what's called cryptographic proof. It's just a way of saying it uses some seriously powerful math to prove a transaction is real and legit. Now, the idea of digital cash wasn't exactly new. People had tried before, but they always hit the same wall. They couldn't solve this one critical problem. How do you stop someone from spending the same digital dollar twice? It's called the double spending problem. Then, in 2008, a totally mysterious figure, we only know them as Satoshi Nakamoto, published a paper that changed everything. It laid out the solution, and in 2009, the very first Bitcoin was mined. Our hero was officially born. So, what's the secret sauce? What's the source of our hero's incredible power? Well, it all comes down to one absolutely groundbreaking piece of tech, the blockchain. This is the engine that makes the whole thing work. Okay, stick with me here. Imagine a shared digital book of records, like a ledger. But instead of one person or one bank holding that book, thousands of copies are held by people all over the world. And here's the magic trick. Once a page is written in that book, it can't be ripped out. It can't be changed, ever. It becomes a shared source of truth that no single person or group can control. So how does a new entry get into this unchangeable book? It's pretty cool. When you send crypto, that transaction gets broadcast to the entire network. Then, these guardians of the network, they're called miners or validators, race to verify that it's legit. Once it's confirmed, it gets bundled into a new block and permanently locked onto the chain with a kind of cryptographic seal, almost like a digital force field protecting every single transaction. So these are the superpowers that make blockchain so revolutionary. It's decentralized, which means nobody can just shut it down or censor it. It's transparent, so anyone can look at the ledger, which builds a ton of trust. And it's secure and immutable, which just means the record is permanent and ridiculously hard to tamper with. What this all adds up to is not just a new way to send money, it's a whole new way to build trust itself. So Bitcoin basically kicked the door down, right? But it wasn't the only hero to walk through it. Pretty soon, a whole universe of cryptocurrencies started to pop up, and each one had its own unique mission. Let's look at the two titans of this universe. If Bitcoin is like digital gold, a super scarce and secure asset for storing value, then Ethereum is something completely different. Think of it more like a world computer. See, Ethereum came along and introduced this mind-blowing idea that you could actually build applications and run programs directly on the blockchain itself. And that just opened up a whole new world of possibilities. The key to Ethereum's power is something called the smart contract. Now forget about lawyers and stacks of paperwork. A smart contract is just a piece of code that automatically executes a deal when certain conditions are met. The best analogy, it's like a digital vending machine. You put in your crypto, the conditions are met, and the contract guarantees you get your snack. No middleman, no waiting, no he said, she said. It's trust, but automated. So the crypto universe now has thousands of different assets. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Coins, like Bitcoin, have their own blockchain. They're the native currency of their own digital country. Tokens, on the other hand, are built on top of other blockchains, like Ethereum. They're kind of like arcane tokens. They can represent anything from a piece of art to a concert ticket. Stablecoins are designed to hold a steady value, usually pegged to something like the US dollar. And altcoins? Well, that's just the cool catch-all name for every crypto out there that isn't Bitcoin. Okay, so that's the origin story. We've covered the basics, but what's our hero doing now? because this isn't some far-off science fiction anymore. As we're looking at 2026, crypto is already reshaping our world in some pretty incredible ways. The first major mission is something called DeFi, which stands for Decentralized Finance, and this is a huge one. Basically, developers are rebuilding the entire financial system we know, lending, borrowing, trading, you name it, but they're doing it on the blockchain, without the banks. For someone in a country with, say, an unstable currency or no access to a bank, this means they can get financial services with nothing more than an internet connection. It's a system that's open to anyone, anywhere.
All right, next up, tokenizing real-world assets, or RWAs. This is where the digital world and the physical world start to merge. We are literally talking about taking things like corporate bonds, real estate, even invoices, and turning them into digital tokens on a blockchain. Why? Because it makes them way easier to trade, more accessible to more people, and available to trade 24/7. It's a game changer.
And now for the really futuristic stuff. Two of the biggest technologies on the planet are starting to converge: AI and crypto. We're seeing AI being used to manage crypto portfolios, to spot security threats on the network, and even to create these autonomous agents. I mean, imagine a self-driving car that can pay for its own charging using crypto, all by itself. This combo is creating a whole new layer of automated digital commerce. This quote from a Silicon Valley Bank report just nails another massive trend. Stablecoins are quickly becoming the backbone of digital payments. Because they don't have that wild price volatility, businesses are starting to use them for things like cross-border payments that can settle in seconds, not days, and for a fraction of the cost. They are really, truly becoming the internet's native dollar.
So we've seen the past, we've seen the present, but what about the future? I mean, why does this technology have the potential to literally change everything? Well, the ultimate mission is really just getting started.
So what's the end game here? If you look past all the price charts and the crazy headlines, what is the fundamental promise of this completely new financial architecture? Well, here it is. The promise is a system that's way more accessible, breaking down barriers for billions of people. It's way more efficient, with transactions that settle almost instantly. It's more transparent, because there's a shared public record anyone can check. And it's programmable. We're talking about money and assets that can be automated with smart contracts to do things we haven't even dreamed of yet. And this is the bottom line. For centuries, our entire financial system has run on trusting institutions, trusting banks, trusting governments. Cryptocurrency offers a radical alternative, a system that runs not on trusting people or institutions, but on trusting math, on verifiable cryptographic proof that is open for anyone, anywhere, to see and check for themselves. The first chapter of this story has been absolutely incredible. It's laid the foundation for a more open, more efficient, and more transparent financial world. So the only real question now is, what are we going to build on top of it? What's going to be in the next chapter?